Alright everyone, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So we finally got through the second trial and we're continuing on from there. So I hope you all continue to enjoy watching and let's keep it rolling. Alright guys, and we're back. That certainly was a long trial. Yes, it was. Your first ever trial on foreign soil and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Mr. Sato, thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. Mr. McGill did. Ah, and that girl's with him too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh? What stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them by now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I viewed a tank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. This guy's happy. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man then? Well, not long ago you were pretty ticked off with me too. I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. There you go. But you're young and headstrong, and 'tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGill, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh, aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that odious abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. So you admit you did have a hand in it then. Now the fine fellas of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I have absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed beforehand, 1,000 Guinness for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Ah, bewist, you are humble people, are you, from the east? Well, if you insist. But have this still and all. You deserve a reward. You could give me one, Ray. Mr. Magnus McGill did. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. That's off-putting. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain. And there he goes. A free man. Oh, but she's still here. Oh, I forgot she was here too. Oh, are you kidding me right now? Don't move. Whereas I want to say, get a move on, she really does take forever to load that thing. Mr. Strahd, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry? And I ate all grown-ups. Ah, there you are. What the? Naughty, naughty, running off like that. Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking that with you as well? I was looking forward to a trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ha! Wow. Okay, this one here has the same symbol as Shom's goggles. Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor? Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, white, and more white? If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though? At all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with the telegraphic beacon. What's it what? I have no idea what this girl's talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now. Back to my laboratory. What? What for? To apologize, of course, silly. To my technician. What? You mean say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? I don't listen to adults. Come along then. Follow me. Fine. Have it your way. Oh good, you see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly sure that what she wants is to not get shot by that massive gun of yours. We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. She still didn't give me her name though. She was a lively one. Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too? Yes, you're right. But where to? Oh, we haven't had the time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. Oh, okay. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through. Okay. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one. Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 Guinness would have paid for a lovely warm room or mansion. Hey, you should have taken up the payment. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned. The case was far from over.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water, quick! What the? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
Oh, this can't be.
Okay, so the omnibus was burned down and someone was in it, so someone got killed as well. Might have something to do with McGilded again. Alright. Alright, so now we're on episode 4, The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Let's go.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
February 19th, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gaslights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Beria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops. Sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Good morning to you at this early hour. Oh, Strongheart. Still a cool name, by the way. Oh, yes, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Sato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into the British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country's delight to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Yeah, see, I don't like that. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilder really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilder passed away immediately following the trial. No. What? Mr. McGilder is... I thought that was him that planned it, but okay. Dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Alright, well, let's talk. Especially about this guy's death, because I thought it wasn't him that was inside there. I thought it was someone else. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilder had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already... The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilder. That's awful! The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilder did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now. It is time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. I bet you he's not really dead. He planned all that. And that body, that fake corpse, is not his. It's just some replacement. I think it's to further his innocence in some way. I would be very shocked if he really was dead, though. That is my theory I'm going with, guys. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But, then who was Mr. McGilder talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGilder. Alright, British court. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Okay, is she a mind reader? The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much at least is an undeniable truth. which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What is he gonna say before? Alright, let's check out the new case. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? So, Strongheart and Nasusato are both mind readers? That is to say, no one has died, as yet. Well, that's worrisome. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. Ha! So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything alright? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGildered's trial. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh, of course. How convenient. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I will advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what is that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Ah, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Another thing? Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important, and what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose you're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. That was enlightening to you. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attention on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to appraise you of the details. Prize, sorry. I read it as a praise. How long has he been there? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Alright, let's talk to this guy. Okay, he's eating. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Again. Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eating out of your hand, you know? But Tsusato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man. A very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I am ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe you've been introduced. This is Mr. Vianosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Huh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue. It's a lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Ah, of course. Of course. Unbelievable. How did she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson. What's the matter with Chisato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Alright, Inspector Gregson. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Mr. Sato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well. Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rance Magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Holmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Really? You rivaled the great Mr. Holmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Look at him, now he's bashful. Mr. Holmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Holmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of the bad lot of the Scotland Yonders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Holmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head and stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. That's a new expression to me. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. In that case... So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Is it the Briar or Briar? Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with Chisato takedown, would you? That's neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Vianosuke. You've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak Van Zeeks. Oh, here we go again. No. Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey. Wow. Alright guys, I'm going to have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we get back, we're going to continue on with this new case that we're going to investigate. So thank you all for watching. Until the next one.